Project Hail Mary just released, and it is one of my favorite new releases in quite a while, but where does it rank among other science fiction films? Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. Project Hail Mary just released a couple of weeks ago and I absolutely loved this film. I thought it was a phenomenal sci-fi movie that exceeded my expectations for it in almost every single way. I've seen it twice and I think I can safely say that it is becoming one of my favorite science fiction movies I've ever seen. So today I'm going to talk about some of my others and give you my top 10 favorite science fiction movies of all time. Starting at number 10, I have Denis Villeneuve's Arrival. This is his first movie on this list and certainly not the last. I absolutely love this movie. Amy Adams gives possibly one of her best performances. The visuals, as with every single Denis Villeneuve film, are incredible. They look stunning. All like the ink drawings from the hectopods look phenomenal. Jeremy Renner is fantastic in here as well. And one of the things that I especially really love about this film is the way Denis Villeneuve doesn't really fully show us what these creatures look like. We have a sort of an idea, but most of the time he has them kind of covered in like fog or mist or whatever. And I think in a way it almost makes them feel a little more real. Because when you think about it, most sci-fi movies, when they're not made properly, if they go too far with showing the alien or they try and make it too much or use too much CGI, whatever, it can kind of take you away from it because you can tell that the creatures aren't real. And like I said, if it's not done properly, it can look pretty bad sometimes. This film kind of takes that away and it almost separates us from the aliens in a way that's kind of a bad way of explaining it. But the fact that he doesn't fully show us what they look like, he makes it look like they're more shadows standing in this mist. It makes it feel much more believable and real, and I love that. I also love how the film plays with time, especially in the twist, and overall this is just a fantastic sci-fi movie. Number 9, I have Alex Garland's Ex Machina. I absolutely love this movie. Oscar Isaac gives one of my favorite performances of his. He can be, he's way kind of more intimidating and kind of not necessarily a villain, but it does kind of get to that point, especially by the end. And it's a different role for him. I absolutely love it. The relationship that the main character builds with Ava throughout the film is great. I love all of that. And the fact that Ava kind of turns on them at the end and it is kind of just playing them the entire time, I think is really great. And it can be kind of scary that if something like this were to happen, it's very believable and feels like it could happen. Number 8 for me, another Denis Villeneuve movie, Dune Part 1. I absolutely love this first part to this franchise. The reason it's way lower on my list is because it just can be a little bit slow to get through. I still love absolutely every single second of it, but because there's such a big jump in action and visuals and all of that in the second movie, this film can be a little bit slow to get through. It's doing all of the heavy lifting for the sequel so that we can just get right to the fun in the other movies. And this film's doing all of the world building, setting up the characters, setting up the planets, the motivations of every single character, both good and bad. But I still love all of it. It is phenomenally done. The visuals look absolutely insane. Hans Zimmer's score is amazing, and I do really love the world building that they do in this movie. The setup is phenomenal. When I think of what I want a great sci-fi movie to do, what I want from this genre is for it to transport me to a completely different world, something unlike anything I've ever seen before, and this film does exactly that in a phenomenal way. Next on my list is the newest released on this list, and the one that inspired me to make this video, Project Hail Mary. I have seen this movie twice, and I absolutely loved it both times. You can check out my video for more in-depth on all of my thoughts on it, but I love what Phil Lord and Christopher Miller did with this film. It is possibly one of my favorite roles from Ryan Gosling. You get kind of the best of both worlds in this film. He is infinitely funny and charismatic and charming, but he can also have more of an emotional and dark side to him. In the film, his character, Ryland Grace, is completely alone up in this spaceship. He doesn't know exactly why at first, and he comes to form a bond with this alien that he calls Rocky. But other than him, he is the only human up in this spaceship, and essentially is doing this mission alone for the first little bit. And he has to grapple with the idea that he's essentially on a suicide mission. He's not going back to Earth. And you can see the emotional toll that takes on his character, even though he tries to hide it with his humor and he says he's okay, he's really not. And there's a specific scene between him and Rocky where he flat out says that, and it can be really emotional. Speaking of Rocky, his character was absolutely hilarious. Every line, both times I saw it in IMAX. My theater was fairly packed, and the entire audience was laughing out loud the entire time. And that is one of the reasons why I loved it so much. It was just a fantastic experience, from the visuals to seeing it with a big crowd. Everyone laughed at the same time. Everyone held their breath at the same time. It just made for a great movie theater experience. Then I have Terminator 2: Judgment Day, a sequel that is even better than the original. This is my favorite James Cameron film, and everything that he was able to pull off in this movie that really hadn't been done before it came out was incredible. All of the liquid metal effects with the T-1000 is fantastic. The T-1000, it might be one of my favorite villains in movie history, simply because of what they were able to do with the practical effects, the CGI, and it just creates a perfect antagonist for our Terminator and John Connor. The action is fantastic. Arnold Schwarzenegger is perfect in this role, and it's overall just a really awesome sci-fi film. Kicking off the top 5, I have Blade Runner 2049, possibly one of the most visually stunning, not only sci-fi films, but just in general, one of the most visually stunning films I have ever seen. Every single shot and frame looks like something that you would want to hang on your wall. The colors, the composition, it all looks absolutely gorgeous. Quite a different role for Ryan Gosling as well. He is not trying to be funny or charming at all in this film. He goes full stoic and dark and emotional, and he does it very, very well. He's fantastic in this movie. Might be one of my favorite roles from his. I love Ana de Armas as well. Harrison Ford coming back is fantastic. The production design is, no pun intended, out of this world. Everything looks so real and lived in, and it almost doesn't really feel like you're watching a movie. It feels like you are watching what LA could look like in the future. And that's one thing that Denis Villeneuve does so well, even when it's something so futuristic and crazy like this. He manages to make it feel so real and believable. I love that, and that is especially true for this film. Number 4, I have Dune Part 2, another sequel that is even better than the original. I saw this film 3 times in IMAX when it came out back in 2024, and everything from the visuals to the production design, the score, everything is just bigger and better in this film. And watching Paul's ascent to power is really great. A fantastic character arc for him. All of the new characters are amazing. Side characters, even from the first movie, are better in this film, especially Rebecca Ferguson's character. I love the arc that she has in this film. Just like I said with Blade Runner 2049, every single shot looks absolutely gorgeous, and especially seeing it on an IMAX screen in theaters was absolutely amazing. This is pretty much as perfect as a sci-fi film can get, and I cannot wait to see what Villeneuve does with Dune Part 3 later this year. Number 3, Ridley Scott's Alien, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's got horror, but it's also very sci-fi. There are multiple scenes that are incredibly well done, and the fact that this was one of Ridley Scott's first films is amazing. Every detail is insane. I love the horror aspect. I know there are a lot of diehard Aliens fans out there, but I have always preferred this one to the sequel. My runner-up is Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Not only one of Nolan's best films, one of his most emotional as well. And as I've said with many movies on this list, everything from beginning to end is absolutely perfect. I love every single second of this movie. The setup is really fantastic, and setting it in this kind of near future world where crops are dying, people are starving and dying, and it's really kind of humanity's last hope is trying to find a different world to live on. And that feels very realistic and believable. And while we may be quite a ways away from being able to do that, it is something that you believe could actually happen. That's what I love about Nolan and his films. He is able to come up with these very unique plots, but he's able to ground them in some sort of reality. And the same thing goes for pretty much every single thing in this film. The visuals are absolutely stunning and, again, look realistic. He absolutely wanted it to be that way. And like, the acting is incredible. Matthew McConaughey gives one of his best performances. The scene where he's in the ship and he's watching all the video logs from his children, that scene is phenomenal, gets me every single time. Not only what I believe to be Hans Zimmer's best ever score, but it is my personal favorite score of all time. Every soundtrack on the score is phenomenal. I've listened to the score dozens of times. It is phenomenal. I love it every single time. The docking sequence is incredible. I was able to see this movie a couple of years ago in IMAX on a re-release, and it was my friend's first time watching. This is now his favorite movie of all time. And seeing it on IMAX for the first time, several scenes, the score in the background was all absolutely incredible. Everything about this movie is perfect, and it would be my number one if it weren't for The Empire Strikes Back. I have such a fond memory of watching this movie for the very first time. I think I was maybe 7, and I watched it with my parents and my uncle, who was a massive diehard Star Wars fan. And I just remember being absolutely blown away. I love the introduction of Yoda and his training with Luke. That's all fantastic. The visuals are great. The action is really great. The final battle between Luke and Vader is incredible. And like, going into it, I had heard the twist, Vader's Luke's father, a million times. I knew that going in. What I did not expect is when Vader chops off Luke's hand. Watching that for the very first time, I audibly reacted, and my parents and uncle couldn't help but laugh, and just jaw was on the floor. I vividly remember watching that as a kid, and this is one of the films that I credit with making me fall in love with movies in the first place. To this day, it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. So it's not only my favorite science fiction movie of all time, it's like in my top 10 films of all time, I would say. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorite science fiction movies of all time. What are your favorite science fiction movies? Let me know down in the comments below. Where does Project Hail Mary rank among your favorites? Is it one of your favorites? Is it your absolute favorite? Just let me know all of that. And until my next video like this one, subscribe to my channel and keep watching movies.